I think this is going to be a fundamental question in politics. I've been advocating a basic universal income for 30 years. And we have just done pilots in India, of all places. And we found that giving everybody a universal basic income unconditionally led to people doing more work, not less, being more productive, not less, improving nutrition for the children, improving schooling, attendance and health, many other positive respects. I have been worried when I heard that Podemos is retreating from supporting a basic income, and I would say to them in all friendliness, in all fraternity, if you like, that they should reconsider that. If they went for a minimum income scheme targeted at the poorest, they will only fall into the contradictions that the neoliberal agenda has fallen into over the last 30 years, because that will inevitably lead to a promotion of workfare. What do I mean? If you have a minimum income scheme targeted only to the poorest, you have to ask two questions. Should we give it to someone who chooses to be poor, or who is poor because we think it's his or her own fault? Then immediately the state says we must put conditions. They must do this, they must do that, they must do that. You create further problems. Imagine what happens. I say you are poor, and I've decided that you are not poor from your own fault. Okay, I give you a minimum income. And then there are low-wage jobs around the corner. So if you go from a small benefit to a low-wage job, and you're in the precariat, you will be facing a marginal tax rate of 80% or more. It means your precariat will be facing a tax rate that's twice what the middle class are being asked to pay. This is a regressive, inegalitarian policy. It's ridiculous. But it's made even worse because of what I describe in the book as precarity traps. Because when you lose a job, do you think you get your benefits tomorrow morning? No, you don't. Many people, it turns out, have to wait for weeks, for months, before they actually start receiving their benefits, right? Now suppose you have just started receiving your benefit, and along comes an employment office official and says there's a part-time temporary job the other side of Madrid. You must take it. Do you think it would be rational for anybody to take such a job? Because very quickly they would be losing it again and have to go back to the beginning of the queue to start trying to apply for benefits. Now, you cannot get more idiotic and regressive than that. It doesn't make any sort of sense seen from the perspective of the precariat. And what you get drawn to at that point is dualistic vocabulary that I criticize in the book. You start saying, oh, so-and-so is lazy, or is a scrounger, as we call it in English. And then the rhetoric is drawn to the right. And that is a complete failure. It's much better to have a universal basic income, because having a universal basic income actually increases the incentive to work and to labor, because you're not facing that poverty trap. And moreover, it's more ethical. And it's more needed because we need a redistribution of income. And there are no other ways of redistributing income that either Podemos or any other party has proposed that makes any sort of sense.